And we're back again. This is Wild One. I completed 8 turns in the last video, which was 4 more than I planned. I got a little carried away, but I was sort of desperate to at least show some mechanic like coordinate, so I sort of stuck around until coordinate came up. Now, I forgot to draw a strike for the scout at the end of turn 8. So I drew one for the synthetic. That was the somebody help card. I think I was in shock from drawing that card that I forgot to draw for the scout. So the very first thing we're going to do here before I proceed is we're going to draw a strike for the scout. Ooh, and it's a close call, so we don't have to worry. Nothing actually changed. Amazing. So now we're going to get ready for turn 9, but before we start turn 9, I promised I would reflect on my progress so far through this adventure on the commercial towing vehicle Nostromo and the exploration of the derelict ship on LV-426. I wanted to kind of talk about a couple things. One is the term character. I was tossing character around a lot, and primarily when I was talking about these cards. The barracks are full of character cards, but these are specific types of characters called crew cards. So in this case, these were, for the 4 characters I chose, they were all Weyland-Yutani crew cards. There are other types of character cards, which are the ones you started with, your weak grunts and specialists. And the role card for each of our players is also a character card. Sergeants are character cards as well, and there is a character card actually in one of those hive decks, and when we get to it, we'll talk about it. So there is one in there, and take a guess which one it is for Alien. So essentially any card in your deck is a character card, probably with the exception of the Chestburster. Speaking of the Chestburster, let's talk about the Facehugger. I keep talking about how bad the Facehugger is and how much you don't want to have one, but I'd like to just spend a little bit of time stepping through how the Facehugger mechanic works in the game, as well as let's talk about the Chestbursters that are in the hatchery. So let's grab a Facehugger from the hatchery. We sort of looked at this before, fairly close. You can see here it has a reveal effect right there. You put it in front of you whenever you receive it. Any player can fight this on their turn. Unfortunately, it's restricted, so if you still have this card, so if it's still alive at the end of the player's turn that follows the turn in which you acquired the Facehugger, then you kill it and gain a Chestburster, which means that, let's say we were in a 4-player game, and it wasn't the synthetic's turn, and he was forced to, say, draw a strike, and he drew the Facehugger. There is one Facehugger in that strike deck, by the way. And by drawing the Facehugger, you have to put it in front of you when it's revealed. Unfortunately, because it's not the synthetic's turn, he doesn't have an opportunity to remove it himself. The player whose turn it is at the time has an opportunity if they're in the action phase. So if the synthetic received this not on his turn and another player caused it to happen, then the following player has until the end of their turn, which is essentially really just the action phase, to kill this Facehugger. The Facehugger takes 3 to kill. It's a real pain. So you have a very limited amount of time to get rid of this. So let's say it did happen on the synthetic's turn. Let's say it happened during the hive phase and he received a Facehugger. Then he has his action phase, and in the case of our 2-player game here, he has his action phase and he has the scout's action phase to get rid of it. Now, at the end of the scout's turn, if this is still in front of him, here is what happens. It dies. It goes into this dead enemies pile. I'm going to put it back on top of the hatchery since we're not actually doing this. And he pulls a Chestburster. I showed this before. This was my example of why this game is 17 and up. Pretty graphic artwork there. But let's kind of zoom in on the text here a little bit. So when you gain this, you kill all the Facehuggers that are in front of you. Yes, you can get more than one Facehugger. It's possible, but rare. While this is in your deck or discard pile, enemies won't strike you, and new facehuggers will jump to the next player. When you draw this, you suffer extreme pain and die. Really, really grim. And again, when I mentioned earlier about the term gain, when you gain this card, you place it in your discard pile. So if, say, the synthetic gained the Chestburster, it goes in his discard pile, and he has a limited amount of time to live, depending on the size of his deck. If he got it really early, and well, it's a combination of things. If you get it really early in the game, or if it's near the very top of what's left of your deck, then the likelihood that you're going to get it pretty soon is high. This early in the game, it's very bad. Later in the game, if you get the 1-2 punch of it's low in your discard pile, so it's a while before, you're basically still drawing through your draw deck for a while, and then you shuffle, and when you shuffle to draw your next set of cards, the Chestburster's at the bottom of your draw deck, then you are favored. You have plenty of time to continue being a cooperative player until you are killed by this Chestburster. The alien mechanic I had mentioned at the beginning of the game is associated with this. If you choose to play with the alien mechanic, then the result of gaining drawing the Chestburster, which kills you, is that it turns you into an alien player, and then you play the alien for the rest of the game, and your goal changes. Now your goal is to kill all of the other players and be left alive standing. So, one more thing. I kind of looked back over the prior video and looked at my play. I noticed that the scout had been focused on leadership and intel cards. So like, for example, the two here, the quarantine procedure and review the nav data, those are leadership and intel. The scout roll card also has the leadership icon on it. So it makes sense for the scout to acquire leadership cards. So leadership and intel are what the scout's been focused on, so I think I'm going to continue to try to focus on those. The other three skills, strength, survival, and tech, neither the synthetic nor the scout have, I believe, purchased any strength cards. The synthetic has been focused mostly on tech. Kind of makes sense. The synthetic is a synthetic life form. He's a robot. It kind of makes thematic sense that he would be focusing on tech. He also happens to be focusing on survival a little bit, so I think there's at least 1 or 2 survival cards in here. So I think the strategy going forward is for the synthetic to focus on acquiring tech and survival cards, and for the scout to focus on acquiring leadership and intel cards. And then if we happen to come across any strength cards, we'll just divvy those up amongst us. It doesn't matter who gets them. I don't know if there are any actually strength class triggered special abilities on any of the cards in the crew cards that are in the barracks here for Alien. So let's move on to turn 9. How about it? We had the part of the SOS discovered. We need to find the other part of the SOS, and then we'll complete the objective. So we're going to start the scout's turn. The scout has 4 grunts and 2 specialists. So 2 pools. 2 recruitment points is just enough to buy the quarantine procedure. Oh, and the synthetic, as I recall, had a coordinate card. Oh, but it's an attack card, the find it and kill it card, so we'll hang on to it for a second here. Just because you have a coordinate card doesn't mean you need to use it on somebody else's turn. You can still use it yourself if you choose to. So I think we're going to buy the quarantine procedure. Seems appropriate. So it's going to go in the discard pile, and we replenish the HQ. We have 4 attack left. I'm thinking in case we run into an egg, we could go ahead and deal with it. I'm not too concerned about this. It's going to get, on the synthetic's turn, it's just going to get pushed to here. So I think the scout should just scan the weapons locker, and if it's something worth 3 to kill, then we can borrow the synthetic's coordinate card to give us 3 attack. So we're going to spend 3 of our 4 in our attack pool to scan the weapons locker. And indeed, it's an egg. Let's go ahead and use the synthetic's coordinate card to add 2 to the scout's pool. So we're going to do that. By doing that, that means that the synthetic gets to draw a replacement card. And what did he draw anyway? He just drew another specialist. So now we get the 2 attack, plus the 1 attack I had left. We're going to kill the egg. Just get rid of it. Get it out of the way now. Give the synthetic something more to do than just dealing with that egg. So, speaking of efficient use of our cards, we used them all. We used every point in both pools, which is great. And the synthetic's coordinate card is just discarded over here. The scout discards his cards and draws another 6. What does the scout have? Let's see. We've got no coordinate cards. We do have this, so we'll finally get to show this. I'm going to demonstrate this on the scout's turn. We drew one of these, which is intel, and we also drew this card, which has that ability right there. So on the scout's turn, he's going to have 4 attack with this card. Alright, that's turn 9. Now we move to the synthetic's turn. You know what I just realized was, we started the scout's turn and I didn't take a hive card off the top. This is something that's commonly forgotten. There are a couple things that are commonly forgotten. One is the hive phase, and the other is sometimes the strike phase. So in my case I forgot about the strike phase. So I made a mistake here too, so we need to actually slide this down. I would say it didn't have much of an impact because whether I had scanned here or here, I would have been fine scanning here. It wouldn't have changed much of anything. But there would have been a card here. So it would have had 3 cards here. I still would have spent 2. And I would have probably scanned this. But either way, whether I scan this or this, the outcome for the synthetic is going to be the same. So we're going to now draw a hive card for the synthetic. Apologize, I'm a little sick. I might sound a little nasal today. I have 4 recruitment points and 3 attack points. Now, where you scan matters. If you draw a new hand at the end of your turn and the power station is clear, then you draw an extra card. So if we were to scan the power station here, it would be good. But unless that's an event or a hazard, which we haven't run into yet, then the power station probably won't be clear. So it's probably not, I'm not sure if it's going to be worthwhile to do it or not, but we could anyway. I don't have anything else to attack, so we're probably going to end up doing that. So let's spend our 4 recruitment points. Because the synthetic has been focused on survival, I say, survival and tech I should say. This card is probably going to be here for a while. It's hard to get 7 recruitment points early in the game. It's crazy, we've got 3 6s and a 7, so I'm just going to have to buy this one. This is a survival card though, so. Synthetic has spent all the recruitment points in his recruitment pool. Now we're going to spend the remaining 3 to scan the power station. Let's just see what's here. It is the other part of the SOS. This is great for 2 reasons. One is we get to complete the objective. So, like we said before, it says on here once you've found both parts, you discard them and complete the objective. So we get to discard these 2 cards immediately. They go in the discarded hazards and events location here, and we also remove the objective card. We've successfully completed the objective. Now we have the second objective. No one can hear you scream. So for the second objective, the objective is to block the ventilation shafts. And right now we don't know how to do that in the context of the game itself. We have an event here. People are disappearing. The next player discards 2 random cards from their hand. This is not as horrific as drawing 2 strikes. This is not quite as bad. It's kind of an opportunity to break, because you're just discarding cards. You're not killing characters out of your deck. You just discard 2 random cards. So it will potentially make you weaker if, say, you were to grab a powerful card at random and have to discard it and not use it. But now what happens is, like I said, we get to end the synthetic's turn. So we haven't discarded our hand yet. There's nothing in the combat zone that can strike us. So we're about to discard our cards and draw a new hand. And this card allows us to, only when the power station is clear, draw an extra card. So I get to draw 7 instead of 6. So we're going to do that now. Let's see if we have any coordinate cards. We did get the roll card for the synthetic, which is great because it allows us to kick off just about anything, including this, the motion detector. So again, here we go. Because we drew the synthetic, any cards I draw that have special abilities that are triggered by any of those classes get to be played. So that special ability there that allows me to scan any room, I'll get to do that on the synthetic's next turn. Rather than drone on in this video, since I had a lot of introductory stuff to kind of talk about, we're going to stop here since we completed the first objective. And we're going to start the scout's turn, which will be turn 11. So we've done turn 9 and 10. And the complex is in the state it should be in before we start the scout's turn. And I will do my very best to remember to start the scout's turn with the high phase. We'll just pick up on this in the next video, starting with objective 2.